Joining me now is Alastair Still of GoldMining Inc. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, an interesting model, basically, with your company. Interesting strategy. You've got 14 projects in 5 countries, and then you've also got stakes in U.S. gold mining, Gold Royalty. We just talked to David Garofalo a while ago, and Nev Gold as well. So, can you give us a snapshot of why this is the model?
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we start and go right back to the fundamental of the country, the company, which was forming it as a time when our chairman and co-founder, Amir Adnani, was setting the company up, had a very long-term view on gold and gold assets. And Amir started a strategy by acquiring assets in downturns and dips in the cycle, and actually put together a tremendous portfolio. At one point, peaked at some 30 million gold equivalent resource ounces. And it was really a view that you acquire ounces at the right time, and over time they would grow and enhance in value. We further expanded that model to show that, hey, we can take those assets, but we can also unlock parts of them, crystallize value, and put value on our balance sheet. And that's why we did the venture to create Gold Royalty Corporation, was the first company we spun out 4 years ago, and 2 years ago, U.S. Gold Mining. And together with a joint venture partner where we let Nev Gold earn into one of our projects, those equity interests now are worth some $150 million or more, depending on the day this is being recorded. Right. And that really makes up a sizable portion of our market cap. That means that the value of the remaining gold ounces, which are still significant in our portfolio, over 12.5 million gold equivalent in the measured indicated and almost 10 million gold equivalent inferred, really are showing a unappreciated value. So there's a further pipeline for growth within that portfolio.
All right, really interesting. Now, as far as U.S. gold mining, they more than doubled the size of their measured and indicated reserves at Whistler, nearly 10.6 million. Can you elaborate on the prospects with the Whistler project?
Yeah, no, very excited by that. It's a new company. It only formed 2 years ago. GoldMining Inc. still owns 80% of the equity. It's a very simple, tight structure. There's only 12.7 million shares outstanding. GoldMining owns 10 million of those, so a very supportive shareholder. The initial funds that were raised with the IPO on the NASDAQ has been efficiently used by our team, which is led by Tim Smith, former director of North American exploration for Newmont, the world's largest gold miner. So a good, strong technical team. Had a great success story there. This project sat idle for more than 10 years. We came in, we did some modest drilling, we had great success. But what has us further excited is the regional scale potential. The Whistler deposit itself is a classic gold-copper porphyry system, but we now see a cluster of potential other targets around there. Each one of those could be a potential needle mover and a company maker for the property as well.
All right, very good. Now, you've been drilling at San George and made a discovery about a kilometer away from the main deposit. So what's the significance of that?
Well, the significance there really is that we think we're on the tip of an iceberg type discovery, and San George has quite a modest resource right now, but it's in a district that's growing and seeing a lot of activity. Our neighbors to the west, Sarabi, have the Palito mine. Further northwest, G Mining have done a tremendous job bringing Tocantinzinho into production. And further northwest, we see Cabral resources. So a growing trend, some several hundred kilometers long now. We know that informal miners in the past have taken out some 30 to 40 million ounces from this district. And there we are centered in this strong region with a good historical track record, large regional package, some 46,000 hectares, good infrastructure, highway and road. And now we have an exploration target multi-kilometers away from the existing resource. Has us very exciting about how big this could actually become.
I'm curious about your background and your experience, about 25 years at Newmont, Goldcorp, Kinross. So what do you bring to the table? How does that experience inform how you lead and execute at GoldMining?
It's a great question, and perhaps it's a little bit unique in that I did spend so long working for major companies, and I started as a geologist. I worked at mines in Northern Ontario and Kirkland Lake and Timmins camps. I was at underground operations, open pit operations. I was a chief geologist there, managed technical services groups, so I had a real strong operating and technical background, which led me into the M&A world. I moved to the Vancouver area, worked for Goldcorp for a number of years, and in fact, during my tenure there, we did some $10 billion in transactions. So global M&A acquisitions and dispositions. That led me down the path of even doing mine construction. Spent 3.5 years in Argentina building the Cerro Negro mine, a major operation still being run by Newmont. So a good, solid foundational background in almost all the key elements of mining, from operations to exploration to development to corporate M&A, really lets me be aware of not only what we need to do to move projects forward, but how to do it and the right people to do it. So having had that experience will be fundamental to creating further value from our portfolio.
It's almost like you started in the mailroom and worked your way up and got all this valuable experience in different elements of the business.
That's a good analogy. And in fact, I think that's the right way to go, because sometimes you see companies struggling. They want to become something, yet they've never been there before. So they don't even know what they're trying to become. It's hard to do it unless you've actually had the experience doing it.
And lastly, Alastair, the stock, when you look at it, as you know, has been kind of going sideways. Is the market underappreciating it? I'm sure you think it is. What's it going to take to get the word out more and get the stock moving?
Yeah, and certainly I'm not the only one here at this show talking about being underappreciated, but the fundamentals are still even more solid than ever. Again, we have 7 projects, each 1 million ounces or more gold equivalent on the portfolio, so there's optionality there. We have cash and a strong equity portfolio. We even have a bonus uranium property. So fundamentals are there. It's really about getting the market on board, recognizing that value. There will be good news flow coming out this year. We'll do further work on San George. We know that the shares we own in US GoldMining, they're preparing another drill campaign. Plus we have this optionality of a uranium property, which we'd love to crystallize some value from too. So lots of good catalysts for growth this year.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for the update.
Pleasure having me here today.
Yeah, it was great to see you. Alastair Still, CEO of GoldMining Inc.